Hello everyone and welcome to another video, the first of many videos I actually have to record this weekend. First of all, we're going to be talking about the JP unit data. I know that Global has some unit data out. I have not ignored it, and anyway, let's just get right to it. And if you're wondering why this music for the Final Fantasy IV, the After Years, no reason, I just wanted to hear this music. That's basically it. Anyway. So let's talk about what happened today for JP. Obviously, JP has a couple of new units and also has some big deals that is making a lot of waves in the community. Obviously, 11 rainbows for 10,000 lapis is a pretty high value deal. But as some JP players know, it is less of a good deal than it may seem. I get it, Global players. You are jealous, and I understand. However, you have to also understand the idea that, 11 rainbows just isn't that good in so big of a pool, and it doesn't necessarily always guarantee you the stuff you want. And another thing I should note, the 11 rainbows guaranteed for 10,000 lapis. Summon festival characters are in that pool. There you go. Alright, so we've clarified that. Now let's talk about the units, and today we're going to be talking about Theodore as well as Ursula, and both of these units are pretty cool, so let's just talk about it. First of all, let's start with Ursula, because ladies first. Now, I do believe it was someone who told me that, and I don't even remember who, because I think there were a couple of comments that said it, but Ursula is Yang's daughter, and Theodore is Rosa, as well as Paladin Cecil's kid, so there you go. But anyway, talking about these characters, both of these characters are not just DPS, they are DPS plus something else. In the case of Ursula here, she is a support as well as a debuffer too. Looking at her stats, they're not bad. Pretty nice amount of HP. Defense and spirit is nothing great, but nothing terrible either. Primarily focused on attack with 208 base attack as well as 65 points put in means that she's pretty good and up there for a true dual wielder. And that is what she is. She can also equip hammers, staffs, projectiles, and flails, but there is a big asterisk with this with fists too. So her limit burst ended up being a physical damage of 19 times, ignoring 50% defense to one enemy, decreased defense of 70% for 3 turns to one enemy, and a heal of 12,000 HP split over 3 turns to the caster. So it's very primarily her focused, and it's very monk themed, the idea of healing yourself and damaging your enemies. So I gotta say that it is pretty expected, I think. Anyway, looking at her kit is kind of a interesting bit, but probably the thing to most note is her dual wield ability. Her dual wielding is restricted only to fists, so it's kind of fists or nothing with her. And when it comes to Super TMR fists, you're basically looking at either, well, who am I kidding when I say that? You're basically looking at only like Preesh as well as Tifa's Super TMR. That might be a little bit outdated. I may be missing a fist or two. But, for really high level equipment, not exactly the easiest to obtain, I would say. However, there might be some good elemental fists out there, so that might be good for charging her with certain elements. Although she is wind-based, primarily. She has attack bonuses for equipping fists. She also has a huge attack bonus, 200% for being unarmed. Bonuses to stats for hats or clothing. A 50% chance of being targeted, which is interesting because she can put up Mirage quite often. I gotta say that's pretty, I really actually do like that. She also has a 10% physical evasion, 7% MP recovery per turn. Passives. Chance to counter physical attacks with normal attack. She has the chain modifier up, so she gets extra chain damage. Some 50% true dual wield in her kit. Some wind and dark resistance, limit burst per turn, immune to charm, as well as, yeah, just some more passives. Looking at her damaging kit, some of the more interesting stuff, she has an AoE heal for both HP and MP of 3,000 and 30 respectively, as well as cures some status effects. I like the healing aspect of some monk abilities. Wind and darkness attacks. Interestingly, she can not darkness. I read that wrong. It just had a dark picture on the ability. Anyway, she has an ability that not only does damage, but decreases 120% wind resistance for 3 turns. So that's pretty nice. Her chaining is AT chaining. She has natural double cast. She has a way to unlock triple cast, though, on a 2-turn cooldown available turn 1. Evade 1 physical attack and increase chain modifiers, which cannot be dispelled, and enables a skill for 3 turns, which is basically triple casting. So by using that, she can basically keep triple cast up permanently and also give herself a little bit of evade. She has wind physical damage ability that also evades 2 attacks, and this is the interesting thing, an AT chaining that gives her evade 2 physical attacks as well as chain damage. I think that she would do really well with Bart's. The two of them, I don't know, maybe Bart's and her will have a kid. I don't know. I don't know what the age is there. So write those angry comments about stuff I didn't check because it doesn't really matter, and it was just an offhand joke about the fact that they're both wind chainers. Anyway, increased chance of being targeted 100% for 3 turns to the caster, and a heal for 15,000 HP split over 3 turns. Mitigate damage taken for 40%. So not only does she get, provoke, and she can potentially have, evasion on herself, she also mitigates damage for the damage she does take. So that's, again, really a cool little kit. And on a 2-turn cooldown available turn 2, wind damage with a high modifier on it 25 times, increase limit burst by a lot, and increase modifier for abilities and cannot be dispelled, AT chaining. So AT chaining is a older style of chaining on JP, but I gotta say, I think she does have chaining partners. I think that her kit is pretty interesting, being able to provoke, still do damage, and also being able to get triple cast and damage mitigation on herself. She's a really well-built provoke attacker, and that is kind of special. And you know what? I may not be a big fan of the after years at all, but I really think that her kit is pretty cool. Alright, so that's basically Ursula. Now let's talk about Theodore. I want to call him Theodore. I'm probably going to call him at least a few times Theodore, but there you go. His heavy armor ended up with 20% physical evasion, which is pretty interesting. Oh, I didn't check real quick what Ursula's TMR ended up being. Oh, never mind. It's just the immunity and the oh yeah, nothing. I was fine on the details there for that one. But the heavy armor having 20% physical evasion is interesting. Again, probably just whale bait, and is whale bait, but yeah, there you go. 206 base attack doesn't really specialize anything. He has a lot of HP. His defense and spirit are pretty good, but unfortunately, if he was considered to just be an attacker, 206 attack with only 50 points put in is not great, and the 50 points, it's kind of just 50 points for all stats across the board. I don't think he'll ever stand out as an attacker, but thankfully this guy is a support unit as well. This guy right here. Look at him dance. Oh, he's dancing. Anyway. Daggers, swords, great swords, katanas, axes, spears, and flails, as well as a fair amount of heavy armor too, with hats, because who doesn't like a good hat? Looking at his limit burst is pretty cool. Physical damage 17.5 times with ignoring 50% defense, but increases his modifier for 11 turns, can't be dispelled. Cure all status ailments to all allies, revive all KO'd allies 30%, and restore HP 8,000 HP and 150 MP to all allies. For only 30 limit burst crystals too. This is a fair, just a really good limit burst. Not for damage, the damage is nice, but it's really secondary to just having basically a full heal, a revive, although the revive is at 30%, and then healing. It's just a crow, I guess. A lot of HP and a lot of MP. So I think that Theodore actually made out like a bandit with this limit burst. It's not physically impressive, but it is going to do a lot to help your team survivability, and I think that's pretty cool. Looking at his kit, he does have scan, he does have a few other abilities like Ursula and a heal for magic, but getting into his abilities, he has some extra damage versus demons, 5% MP, attack up, chance to ignore fatal attack 100% when HP is above 1% one time. Excuse me. More damage versus demons. Really hates demons. Some light resistance. Extra up when equipped with a sword. Recover 7% more MP per turn. Some limit burst per turn. He is a true dual hand unit. He gets some more light resistance. An increase of defense, though, when his HP drops below 26%, he gets a 300% defense boost for 9,999 turns, which is a long time the last time I checked. TMR or Super TMR gets more attack, stop resistance, more true dual hand, upgrades his limit burst, which is interesting. Attack and defense, HP, dark resistance, so on and so forth, and an upped limit burst fill rate, which is great because his limit burst is pretty damn good. And then in his kit, it's basically kind of like I thought. He is a Stardust Ray Chainer for both fire and light element, or if I didn't say that, I'm going to claim it now. The interesting thing is he does have some fire and light attacks that add the element to his other attacks for multiple turns, 4 turns, but increase the opposite element. So fire increases ice resistance for the party, and light attack decreases dark resistance to the party. He has natural double cast. He has ways to unlock triple cast. Into his 7-star, he has a fairly big damage modifier. That's probably offset, though, by his attack being a little bit lower. Overall, he won't get as high as some of the other units, but it is Stardust Ray Chaining. You can imbue an element to it, and it is stacking damage, so pretty darn nice. 3-turn cooldown available turn 1, recovers all his HP, enables for 5 turns triple casting, and gives a modifier up for 4 turns that can't be dispelled. Increase limit burst gauge a fair bit. I do believe a full limit burst. And then on a 3-turn cooldown available turn 3, physical damage 24 times, grants a 5,000 HP barrier for 3 turns to all allies, and auto revive of 80% on a Stardust Ray Chained ability. I have to say, I think that both of these units ended up being really solid. Maybe somebody on the development team... There it goes. Someone on the development team was a really big fan of the After Years, and that's totally fine. These units are totally viable for UOC contention. I think Theodore is a very interesting DPS with support, but a more complete support kit than what we've previously seen in the past. Now that could, again, we could see a brand new type of healer come in the future who's way better than this. And there is Ishtola in the future, so that is to be considered. But I have to say that both Theodore and Ursula's kit is rather impressive, and I do like it a lot, and they are UOC-able. So there you go. Now, what we do have to talk about as well is the step-up banner. The step-up banner is 5 steps. It is 5k lapis. And as you will note, it's almost all of them are 5k, but thank God that first step is on a sale. Alum's being real generous with these sales lately. Anyway, sale. Anyway, continuing on. Step 1 through 5 will also grant you tickets, the After Years box tickets. And you may be wondering, what the hell, Umbra? What the hell is a After Years box ticket? Well, the After Years box ticket is a random gacha, as opposed to getting, the tickets in previous months where if you get 5 of those tickets, you can get a unit of your choice. Now say hello to the random box. And if you are annoyed about this, fair enough. I understand. In the box, there are, I believe what I saw on Reddit and Discord was there were 22 possibilities, which include Super TMR tickets, regular Trust Moogles, a copy of both Theodore as well as Ursula. I keep blanking on that name. But as well, a special ticket as well as a festival ticket. And you may be saying, Umbra, what the hell is a festival ticket? Me too, because I didn't know what this was before right now. A festival ticket is a guaranteed 5-star ticket for festival units only, which means that if you use the ticket, you will get some festival unit. So we've already started this. Again, not complaining, but damn, Alum, you really just, like, man, Alum is really throwing everything at the players, trying to keep people happy. Random 5-star festival unit tickets. We now have a guaranteed 5-star festival ticket, as well as what I will say about this box is I generally don't like it. The odds are still pretty high that you are just going to get one of the lower prizes, and the higher end prizes are much rarer to get, pushing you to. But it's different, so I'll leave it up to players whether they like it or not. I'm not overly crazy about it, but the rewards inside are decent enough that I can't be too upset. And so that is basically a look at all of the data that came out that I do want to talk about in this video. Is Umbra hinting at something? Maybe. But I do want to give a listen to some music, because the good guys on the Discord were able to pull some new music off of Final Fantasy Brave Exvius Volume 3, or the 3rd season. And I gotta say, the music, no matter what I feel about Brave Exvius, I usually just feel that the music is pretty great. So let's take a listen to some of this stuff. Because while we're listening to this music in the background, because, you know, kind of gotta talk over it because I'm not just playing the music. If you really want to hear the whole thing, definitely go over to the Reddit and go into the thread about the data and go give it a listen, because it's really, really good. But Blue Mage Fina will be getting a new ability, as we have found out in the story. It is a light AT chaining damage ability that scales on Spirit, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, Blue Mage Fina is going to become a little more powerful, and I think she's getting upgraded to a 6-star with the new story upgrade, so she's getting there. Eventually we'll get to the point where she's really good. So there's that one. Let's take a listen to the next one. Very focused on the harpsichord. Not bad. Now we get into the battle music. But Blue Mage Fina is going to be a eventually, I feel like, pretty good. She's still very much needing a 7-star, as well as to see what her abilities in her 7-star. But getting up to a 6-star is starting to finally feel like we're getting there. Matter of fact, I might actually use this music in the next video. Pretty cool. And next one. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it. No matter what you think about any Final Fantasy, usually the music is on point, and that is always something worth celebrating. So I gotta say, regardless of how I feel about the direction that Brave Exvius, that Gummy and Alum are taking. Gotta say that, I mean, like, I generally like it. So, anyway. That's a pretty good one. And next. Oh, this is a piece of music for a sassy character, isn't it? This is so sass. Like, someone's just sassing us. And the last one. I feel like this belongs in, like, Azure Gunvolt, but anyway. The music is really great. Definitely go check it out on the Reddit. Thank you very much to the data miners as well as Nazda for providing us a early look at at the new pieces of music. Regardless of Brave Exvius, gotta say I really like the way it is. And keep in mind that next week, less than a week from now, we will have the JP live stream where, well, I think it's time to make some predictions for next month. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, that's it. Let's eat!